everyone. Welcome to Traders Brawl podcast. I'm Adel, the host, and today we have a special guest with us. I really want to share this with you because this is a guest coming from the Web3 marketing perspective, Miguel Francis-Santiago.
That's right.
Right?
Adel, thank you so much.
Adel and Miguel in the house.
Adel and Miguel in the house.
Right?
That's it.
Amazing. Before we get to it, I want to quick disclaimer for those who are new. Welcome to the show, and for those who are with us, we are a social media marketing agency. We are here to educate. We are here to invite new guests to tell us about their entrepreneurial journey and how they entered the Web3 sphere, and also what they're building in this space, because it's very niche, it's very still growing, and there's lots to learn in this space. So, with that introduction out the way, let's get straight to it. Miguel, tell us a little bit about yourself as an introduction, and tell us how you got into this space.
Well, I'm nearing 40 years old. It's number one. I've been on this planet for some time. I got into this space about 7 years ago, at the end of 2017, when I got my first Bitcoin for about $2,000.
Wow.
And I was doing documentary filmmaking at the time. Before, though, in 2011, so first of all, I'm a Russian American. I'm actually Russian, Chilean, Ukrainian, and naturalized American. So it's kind of interesting being me right now, especially.
Right.
Because my dad came from Chile to the Soviet Union to study cinematography at back then one of the best cinematography schools in all of Eurasia, which happened to be in Moscow. And he kind of deflected from Chile because the CIA overthrew Allende, and installed Pinochet. So that's just a little background on how I was kind of raised, knowing how things get destroyed, right, by the political and plutocratic hierarchy, hegemony, etc. So then, moving to the U.S. When I was 11 years old, and living in New York, and kind of going through September 11th and all that even fueled that even more, right? Understanding how the world structure in general works. And really, Zeitgeist, the first Zeitgeist film, I don't know if you remember that, 2003. How old were you in 2003?
I don't remember my age. But
what year were you born?
I was born in 1995.
Okay. Well, so yeah, you were still, in there. I was already, I think, 16 at the time or something like that. And I watched Zeitgeist, and really that gave me my first concept of monetary system and what monetary system is all about. Because Zeitgeist and Peter Joseph, by the way, definitely a film for all to watch. Have you watched Zeitgeist, the first
No,
one?
I haven't. I haven't.
It's a classic.
Really?
Of course, for any crypto anarchist, you definitely please watch Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist. How do you spell that?
Zeitgeist, Zeitgeist, which is a German word, and it's something to do with like time. Anyway, it's a very interesting film. It's a trilogy, but I watched the first part, and the first part really got me like thinking, like, can we cuss, by the way? Like,
Yeah, of course.
Can we say fuck and beep it out?
100%.
Nice. So I was basically thinking at that time, being still a teenager, like, what the fuck? Why are we having to do and spend time giving our energy and effort to somebody else who's no worse or better than us in any way, right? How did this whole hierarchical system come into shape, and why did we accept it as the norm? And so naturally going into startups and IT, 2011, we launched Groupon in Russia. So I was on the opening team of launching this first kind of a play with essentially tokenization, because Groupon was providing a collective, so community buy-in, right? Gathering the community to buy something at a discount. And that, of course, gave the business a lot of recognition, a lot of quick clientele, and the clients got a discount with a coupon. So it was kind of like a token play right there. Only later have I realized that. But anyway, so then we went into documentary filmmaking for IT startups. We brought a lot of cool Russian startups in Silicon Valley. We did a whole roadshow with the Skolkovo IT cluster in 2012, meeting Tim Draper, Bill Tai, all these forefathers of the Silicon Valley. And so that was like my first kind of like real exposure to the startup world of technology and brand positioning these sort of innovators of the future back then. Then, I went into personal startups that I've done on the technology sector. Many of them failed. And I ended up doing documentary filmmaking. Some of it actually political, because at the time the world was changing. A lot of things were happening in Ukraine that I didn't agree with. Having grown up with my best friend in LA from Odessa, my best friend in Brooklyn from Chernivtsi. These are all Ukrainian cities. So back in the day, we were all Russian, believe it or not, and we literally called ourselves Ruskies because it was basically the same people. It's the Kievan Rus, right? So without getting into politics, albeit I kind of already have.
Yeah.
But without getting into politics, I got really tired of being in that sort of, political content making. I was a journalist. I was working wasn't working for, I was working with, because I was on a contract with my own production company that produced this short form content for RT International.
Well, what year was this?
This was 2014 to 2017, 2018. And 2018 is actually when I basically cut all the ties, and I'll tell you how I did that. So Bitcoin grew, I got it in 2017. I launched a Web3 show called Cryptolium on the same channel, went around the world.
Is it on YouTube?
It's still, they knocked it down from YouTube because of all the events that happened in 2022.
Which
with Ukraine.
Okay, yeah, of course.
But the point is, the show was great. It was apolitical. It was me actually promoting Ukrainian and Russian, because we had a saying back then, there's not an ICO around. There's not a good ICO without a Eastern, Russian or Ukrainian. That was like the saying back then in 2018. So, and it's amazing because yes, you look at the industry right now, from Vitalik to, everyone else, there's a lot of Slavs, let's just put it that way, in the industry that are actually at the forefront of many of these from the tapping revolution to the DeFi sector. Take 1inch for example. Actually, my former clients and good friends of mine.
That's true.
A lot of Slavs. So anyway, long story short, apolitical show Cryptolium ran for about 6 months, right alongside with Max Kaiser. Allowed me to, really explore this industry and promote Bitcoin on a level that I was excited by it. I didn't do the whole Jamie Dimon thing, or the stuff that like Vice News was doing, where they were like putting it down and doubting it and kind of spreading that whole narrative that a lot of the powers, the powers, what do you call that? Jesus. The powers to be, the powers that be.
Of what? What are you referring to?
We gotta cut that out. We gotta cut this out. Wait, I gotta remember a word. The powers that rule the world. There's a saying. Powers that be?
I have no idea what you're saying.
Really? Yeah. Wait, it's gotta come to me. Well, anyway, the ruling class of the world at the time in 2018 was promoting a very dark picture of this new technology, very fearful, doubtful. Obviously, it was new, and sure, yes, it was like Brock Pierce, my good friend and patron of the future, is now always says, and for those who don't know, just Google Brock Pierce to kind of find out his role. He's the co-founder of Tether. So many things that he's done for the industry that I think without him, some people even say that Brock is Satoshi, or that Brock is part of the team Satoshi, and I can't really speak to that, but anyway. But what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that the picture that the world was painting for Bitcoin at the time was very negative, and we were doing the opposite. We were actually excited about the technology, and we really showcased Bitcoin in an exciting light, because it did provide an alternative to the standard legacy failing monetary system that has since only devalued, as we see right now. And again, my Bitcoin back in 2017 in October was 2,000 or so. Now it's 65 on September 30th, 2024. So, testament of time has proven that I was right, and many of us were right who believed in technology and were fighting the information front by supporting this technology for the better. And so basically, anyway, long story short, you know, as with many people, right, when Bitcoin grows, you grow with it. And I can talk to that in detail because it's not just financial growth that happens during that process. It actually takes you into a personal growth along with it. And so that's kind of like what happened to me. And I realized that I don't need to provide my content to a centralized media entity that still had some, really, I had full editorial control, but you know, there are still certain things that you couldn't really do.
Of course.
And so that really prompted me to just say, you know what, it's enough is enough. Let me launch my own media network. And we became The Future Is Now Media in 2018. We started doing our flagship product, which was kind of always a handshake between us and the potential people that we worked with. And we created this documentary film series, The Future Is Now Film, that essentially was an infotaining 30 to 45 minute documentary episode filmed at one conference, one Web3 summit. And we ended up going all over the world. We actually ended up launching 2 summits ourselves in partnership with Brock Pierce called Futurama Blockchain Innovators. One in Dubai in 2018, really kind of pioneering the Bab Al Shams restaurant with a Burning Man DJ in the desert. And, you know, Tesla picking up from the airport, driving into the Maidan. It was at the Maidan Hotel, the racetrack hotel. It was really nice because he had this kind of futuristic day program and then this kind of a Burning Man type of a, connecting by the fireside type of an environment, which really seals the deal. And people, like all the conferenciers out there, do take note that people have been meeting in hotels for only, a couple hundred years. People have been meeting around campfires for thousands of years. So if you really, and going back to what this industry is all about, off topic, but again, we're here not to build businesses. We're here to build communities. And so community building is when we have to upgrade ourselves from the standard transactional kind of a, conference style to something more where you really meet the person behind the body, if you will, right? And connect on an energetical level and then do business together. And that's what we kind of achieved with Futurama. It was an event that then launched in Ibiza around Brock Pierce's 500-year-old mansion called The Farm. And we had, John McAfee fly in on a helicopter, Roger Ver, Miko Mutsumura, who said, I remember standing with Miko on Brock's estate, which was used as an after party place for just like one night out of the 3. And Miko was like, this is the future. I'm like, yeah, achieved. And so it was really cool. It's actually those 2 events in particular literally are the reason that so many people found each other and found success in the industry. No bullshit. Like 2 events changed the lives of many people, mine including. And so yeah, it's been a ride ever since, kind of putting that to the big screen and putting that in a high production value format with the right sort of brand positioning, with the right exposure for people that wanted to support this film. So it's sort of like a visual NFT, right? You chip in and it's by the community for the community, and you co-create a vision that's definitely worthwhile, that serves a purpose and actually establishes each co-producer in a reputable format, alongside these top speakers of the space. Right. And that's how later, when COVID began, we were like, okay, now we got to do PR because we can't do events
filming anymore.
Right.
But before you get to that, hold on. I saw some of the films and I liked it. 40-minute long. I didn't see the full thing. I'll be honest. I didn't see the full. But I'm curious to ask.
It's a bottle of wine kind of a thing. You got to get a bottle of wine with a friend or your wife or your girlfriend and just watch it for 30 minutes, really dive into it, especially if you're in
But that's why I want to ask, is that effective in today's world of short content, short form content? Is that 40 minutes still relevant?
So with the purpose of the film, what happened over time as we began, like I said, in 2020, more PR, more go-to-market, more digital. So full go-to-market strategy is what we basically started doing since 2021. And then a year of like a PR warm-up in 2020, as COVID was predominant, we realized that, the film can still go, but it's not going to be every 3 months. It's going to be every 6 to 12 months. It's going to be one film. It's going to really entice a lot of different events. And it's still relevant because our goal never changed. We are going to Netflix. or Amazon Prime, or potentially Hulu. We're speaking to Netflix and Amazon right now. We do have 19 ready-made episodes, beautiful documentary films already ready and cut. And we wanted to make a synthesis of all of that 7-year history of Bitcoin's rise to the truly spotlight that it has now, especially after COVID. And so that kind of shifted into that, while we shifted away from doing regular media, visual media, to doing more public relations and go-to-market.
So like articles.
Right, so public relations, articles, go-to-market strategies, and incentivized-based anticipatory campaigns, right? Because again, marketing in Web3, it's totally different. It's about enabling people. It's not about selling something to them, right? It's a different mentality you have to come with. And so we were, as many were alongside. I can't say really many, but yes, a lot of the marketing professionals that service the industry like us have developed and learned, through the hard knocks and mistakes, great ways to put products out. And so the short form content naturally occurred. We just did something this year at the Token 2049 in Dubai that happened earlier in spring with Brock. It's called Memonize Me. It was basically a short format, 5 to 10 minute, short format, call it The Future Is Now Digest now, and it's basically similar. It still happens at an event, but we're able to do much faster, much more informative, potentially, worthy information in a short format that serves well the conference partner that invites us.
It's funky as well.
Right.
It has a funky vibe to it.
Yeah, it's more. I mean, look, you guys, I call you the vloggers, the
KOLs.
The KOLs, yes, with whom we, by the way, work, and I'm happy that we're engaging on some stuff. But you guys took over, and obviously short form content is king. I come from filmmaking world.
I know.
I don't know if I mentioned that, but I finished AIULA film school, so producing and directing. I worked with Will Smith's cousin. I worked with Stevie Wonder's daughter was in my class. It was cool growing up after New York, because I moved in 2006. I moved from New York to LA for the higher education. Because mom also, I was living with mom at the time. I was like 18, and we basically all went from East Coast to West Coast.
Nice.
And so growing up in LA, having that cinematic thing kind of like, sewed in my veins, I had to take it. I had to do it here. And I got to tell you, it still does its wonders, because high production value brand positioning and high production value content that really engages people on a longer point is important for the general public. And a lot of our films were by the community for the community, as the community was also learning and going through all the current events, from the Bitcoin ETF to Luna, all the things that transpired, we covered in one way or another with amazing predictions of the future, I'd say, by the top thought leaders that are in our film. And we've managed to cover a lot of people from the top. So it's been an exciting ride. But yes, to your point, now the content is more short form. And it has
But I will say this. In today's world of Netflix series tend to be very popular when it comes to reality TV shows.
Yeah.
They love tension. People love
drama.
Yeah. So this is why I would have suggested that if you want to do a 40-minute clip, do it on drama. Make it reality. Get a bunch of arrogant crypto bros and girls in the same room, and you'll see a fight will break out, and get them to speak about their own profiles about, oh, I bought this with this amount, I bought my Lamborghini with Dogecoin, I sold at X amount.
Yeah, you need that,
get a bunch of personalities in one, and you'll get their insight of who they are as a person.
You got to get into the dirty laundry business, kind of a thing.
You got to get dirty.
Because I come again from the world of, we've worked visually with brands before even doing any of this documentary stuff back in 2015. We worked, Bentley, Breitling, this kind of stuff. So I always looked at the world of Web3 as this. I tried to give it that what's the right? Not a luxurious, but a sort of a very sophisticated, futuristic style, right? And when you do these sort of reality shows and you kind of lose that. But yes, you do enter the people that want to
Because the filming is
want
still
to
there.
watch the drama.
The filming skill set is still there. It's just different concept,
Yeah,
different plot.
Well, I showed you the Memonize Me, and it's funky,
I love that.
and it's a little more edgy.
That's true. You can that can stay.
And that should, and hopefully, you know, we might actually do an episode with you, which would be awesome, of both things actually, well, just watch out for that, because that's when Adel.
Keep your eyes peeled.
That's when Adel is going to also inject his creativity and his you know, his plethora of experience that he brings as a younger generation. I'm not afraid to say this.
It'd be a good way of like getting too dynamic.
Right.
Because I've heard your voice. You're a great host, and my style is more provocative.
Yeah.
Which we're about to get into.
No, I love it. I love it.
You know?
Gordon, my good friend Gordon Einstein, who actually introduced us. He was my neighbor in LA. Actually, I moved to Dubai literally a year after Gordon did, as we watched the elections at my house, the 2020 elections.
Oh, okay. Trump versus Biden.
Right, and then shortly after Trump lost or was cheated out of it, whatever you want to believe, Gordon flew to Dubai.
Oh, he flew to
Yeah,
Dubai.
and I followed literally like 8 months later.
Damn.
Like in 2021.
It's like I'm not dealing with Biden anymore.
Yeah, at the end of
Ain't no
2021.
Biden controlling my my nation.
You know, it's funny. For the first time, I released the protests that I went to. So Beverly Hills, right by that famous sign 90210, that park. It's literally next to Rodeo Drive. There's a nice park there, and every Saturday leading up to the election for like 2 months, every Saturday we had a huge Trump rally. Huge Trump rally. And I released the footage for the first time because I, you know, when he, I mean, they were prosecuting people that supported him. So I never released that footage because it was just like, ugh. I also kind of felt that at the time I may have been a little bit too engaged in what I feel might have been a psyop. But I went to those rallies and I did take a megaphone and I did scream.
Oh, you did?
And I did scream that, you know, brothers and sisters of all creeds and races, you know, unite in unity against these roundtable groups, you know, from Soros to Gates, etc., that were essentially, you know, funding the destruction of America. And they, I mean, I'm not afraid to say it, they still are to this day. And literally destruction. Like they're literally funding groups that are out pillaging, raping, destroying, from busing immigrants from, you know, Guatemala all the way up to LA or Texas, to funding certain initiatives that, as we now know, 2 years down the line, were not a healthy choice for many people.
Right.
So, long story short, I came out with that recently, with that content, and then I realized why I left, because I didn't want, you know, at the time I had just one child,
Right.
5-year-old daughter, and I did not really want her to experience that. Because let's just say, and I'll open this up as well, we did have some. So my daughter was in this ballet school, and the higher group, the older group of the ballet class in the locker room started approaching my daughter, like 2 or 3 girls, in a very weird way. Let's just keep it that way, you know, like playing. You know, I don't want to reveal too much, but the point is, it was a bit of perversion that my wife, who came for the first time to the U.S. in 2019 and lived there with me for a bit, did not expect. Like, she did not want that to be around my daughter.
What was happening?
And I didn't
Was
either.
it something sexual?
Yeah, you know, sexual questions, you know, let's play a guy in a car. Anyway, the long story short, it was this perversion that was kind of everywhere.
And it was girls, not guys.
Look, when you have a Mexican guy wearing heels, stockings, short pink
Mexican
skirt.
guy?
Yes.
Oh,
a
I
blonde
see now.
wig and a beard, pretty much like, you know, mine. And my daughter is walking with me, you know, somewhere in Santa Monica or Venice, and then she asks Daddy, who's that? I just say, it's a clown, you know, he's going to do a birthday party. Yeah. You know, but I don't want that to be
But I mean,
around my
the
child.
girls that you mentioned, they were just girls, right? They weren't boys.
They were girls, but look, some people say that, anyway, I don't want to get into gender identity crisis, but let's just say that was a prelude to that.
Right.
Because what you see now in LA is literally a gender identity crisis, especially now. Like back when I left in 2021, it wasn't as prevalent. I just went to visit my mom about a month ago. I was in Los Angeles for 3 weeks, and let me tell you, it's you know, it's not
a place you want to stay.
Well, I'm just happy I left.
Yeah,
Let's put it that way.
Let's put it that way. Before you go into more marketing stuff, you mentioned the presidential election, Trump versus Biden. Do you think that 2020 election was rigged? Do you think like Trump lost fair and square, or was it rigged?
So I am a staunch believer that there is no democracy on this planet.
On this whole planet.
The fact that people believe in this concept of democracy, which comes from the Roman Empire and has been obviously coerced, enhanced, and now digitized by the American Empire, which literally has Roman symbology on everything, from its court system to the dollar, etc. It's just a continuation of the empire. I don't know if Gordon spoke to that, but I can attest that I'm not the only one that thinks this way. I think that the idea of allowing people to have a choice when it's already predetermined, no matter what you do, is a dangerous road to take. Because as we see with Trump, when you do get a popular guy that comes from kind of being this entertaining businessman, and speaks his mind and gains popularity, and then what do you do with that? What do you do when the people actually go out and really vote?
I know, but
right?
Remember when
how do you stop that person from getting elected?
But remember, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Remember that when that video came out where, grab her by the genitals, remember that video?
Yeah.
There was a big backlash around Trump.
Well, it was all taken out of context, first of all, as always.
But he did say that.
Yeah.
And it was caught on camera.
Sure.
And so people were like, dude, do I want this to be my president?
Yeah, but you don't judge a person by, no human is perfect.
Yeah, true.
Number one. Number two, so much shit that was talked and spewed about Trump by the media was taken out of context by such a mile, that no human being deserves. I think the fact that he's endured all this and is still managing to fight even as we speak, the fact that RFK, Jr., who, let's just say, is not far into the crypto scene. And I met Ron Paul in Miami BTC 2021. Then I know that a lot of the front runners of the space whom I'm acquainted with, I cannot really name names. I know that they've been meeting with Trump, they've been meeting with RFK, they've been meeting with Ron, and so the fact that RFK has now endorsed Trump and Trump is now openly speaking about Bitcoin, that's just another plus in the bag for me. And so at the end of the day, for me, it's not about the genitals or some minor sexism that sometimes happens, especially in the United States, with the rise of extreme feminism that is completely baseless, senseless, and goes against the basic nature of humanity, where, I want a woman that supports me.
100%.
I want a woman that supports and enables me. I don't want a woman that rules me.
Oh.
Okay.
Of course.
No offense.
No
okay?
offense.
And remember,
we love you, women.
I'm a Golden Visa Dubai resident for 3 years now. I'm so happy to be here and to have been accepted by this country. Actually, I did get my residency that way through the film, through creating. This work of the future about this wonderful city and this wonderful country that has enabled so many innovators like yourself, like me, to come here and create stuff. And drive technology and equilibrium forward. Because believe it or not, women empowerment is also part of the scene. We're actually working on something right now with the UAE and a few of my good friends. Again, I can't really reveal the names, but I'm just going to say that it's an internationally recognized leading women empowerment and beauty pageant.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be technology based and women empowerment based, and it will, inshallah, take place here in the UAE.
Okay, it's a beauty pageant beauty pageant contest.
Yes.
Okay, so
one of the
men are
oldest
going to vote
ones.
on the best woman.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
But isn't that sexually, stimulating?
Is that bad?
No, it's not a bad thing. That's what
Is that bad?
I want to say,
people don't realize that what you just mentioned is what drives the world.
That is
and the most successful males are the ones that can put that sexual energy into their craft and actually be successful at it.
Wow.
And you know what? I think Trump is one of those.
Yeah, he's one of, because he started his own.
Let's just put it that way.
Speaking about Trump, he did launch his own beauty pageant as well, right? It was
Yeah.
He
Well,
was
look,
an entertainer.
Beauty pageants and conferences, events, Web3 events, they are gatherings that create networking in business. That is it at the end of the day. And the sponsorships that happen in the crypto dynamic are very freaking similar to the sponsorships and the way they're made and the way they're bid against each other in the beauty conference dynamic.
Sure.
You know, let's just.
So a question on and I love to play devil's advocate.
I love how we're going all over the place in this
love this.
conversation, but this is good.
I really love this. What would you say though to critics that would say, oh, you know, launching a beauty pageant, room full of men judging them, isn't that creepy?
That's women empowerment. Because it doesn't have to be just about the beauty, it also has to be about the brains. And beauty and the brains have never been so prevalent, especially in the feministic angle of the modern culture over the last 20, 30 years. And I gotta say, I've been fortunate enough to have a beautiful, extremely powerful woman at my side, my beautiful wife, Christina, if she's watching this. And I've met some of the most amazing minds and incredibly talented women, you know, female Satoshi, in the world of Web3, you know, from Irina Litchfield to Anna Frankowska, you know, just to so many other women, especially from the Asian countries, right? We know some of the amazing leaders at ChainUp, at BitGet, at Binance, you know, are women, and that's what the future is about. It's about enabling women and admiring the brains and the beauty. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. No, good to get that perspective. The only reason I mentioned this because, you know, there is this rise to, you know, women speaking up, women, you know, post Me Too movement. Women.
That's artificial.
That's artificial?
Of course. That's an artificial psyop, Me Too.
Tell us about that.
As BLM, which was hijacked by the same powers and used the same Orange Revolution textbook that we've seen across the Arabic Spring, that we've seen in Ukraine, and then I saw it in America, which is why I went and protested on those Trump rallies, because I saw the same tactics of soft power, mind control, being literally used on the people of a country that I thought was, you know, a dream for so many folks out there.
What does the Me Too movement mean to you?
You know, that's a good question. Me Too movement is basically for a lot of people that argue with their men or husbands and find out that maybe they were wrong, and maybe, you know, again, that's such a complex subject that it's like anybody you can take the Me Too frame and put it on anything. It's like anytime you're wrong in an argument and you want to become a victim and create a group of these victims to potentially promote the fact that you were right when maybe you were wrong. And whatever happened is whatever happened, and that's your business. You do not need to take it out to the public in order to literally try and create some sort of an info angle that will subvert the impression of what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman, and what it is, and what's the fine line of respect there between the two, and how issues and disagreements and arguments can be solved, and what happens if there's violence or not. I mean, look at Amber Heard. I mean, the recent Netflix documentary that came out on that whole crisis, again, completely manipulated. I mean, she was snorting drugs in the trial. Why was that omitted from the documentary? Why was not one shot of that mentioned? Okay.
She also hit Johnny Depp.
She did hit Johnny Depp, and she was super aggressive, and she felt like she needed to film every single argument. Like, I'm sorry, but what the fuck is that?
You're right.
You know, anyway, so the point is, a lot of the concepts that were promoted by the powers that be. That's what I wanted to say.
Oh, the powers that be.
Yes, a lot of the concepts that were promoted by the powers that be, that engage the modern Gen X, Gen Z in a certain way that they're currently engaged in terms of these, you know, world issues, topics, identity, relationships, politics, etc. They're crumbling apart right now. People are starting to see through the veil, right? Bitcoin is sucking out the failing value of the dollar, okay? CBDCs are being promoted, but there's a fine line there, and the way that game is going to be played out, we're all going to experience, and all in the industry here are going to be a part of it. You know, and that's an important choice to make, right? What do you want to do? Why are you here? Right? Are we here to just make more money, the same money that we're trying to fix, and you know, get super rich, or are we here to literally change the world for the better? And as cliche and as, you know, pompous that may sound, that's a choice that people have to make, and that's a choice that I've been covering, not just with the you know, with the film, but with the work we've been doing across the space for the last 7 years. People always have to make that choice, and a lot of the Bitcoin maxis that we've, you know, are friends with, you know, Jimmy Sung, Tone Vase, Max Kaiser, right? Like, you got to talk to them. That's a different perspective. The you know, the STO, the ITO, the ICO people, they're a totally different crowd.
Of course.
Their value systems are not the same. And
hold on,
you know,
coming back to the Me Too, let's finish this first.
Okay.
Just so I know, so the Me Too movement, as we all know, is Amber Heard, you mentioned, and all these women that come forward. Do you think, though, that you know, the women that tend to be involved in this, not always, but the ones that tend to be, they tend to be more alpha?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's part of the identity crisis that has been created with the modern pop culture that I was just leading into, with the Gen Z and Gen X being sort of programmed by the TV programming, right? And all these other forms of programming that came to the palm of your hand with the rise of the smartphone. And it's just amazing. I don't know if people noticed how mind controlled everybody has become. I mean, I remember having a Motorola Razr.
I remember the flip-on.
The Motorola Razr that I used in New York, right, when I was like a teenager in high school, and the Nokia, right? And I remember September 11th, and I can only imagine that if the technology during 9/11 was at a similar point that we have today, potentially we would have never had what happened past September 11th.
But why do you think these women are coming up more alpha? We're seeing more alpha women come about. Is it because of mind control? Is it because of social media?
It's because of megatrends that are set in closed rooms by certain think tanks around the world that literally have the CEOs of Netflix, CNN, the top 6 corporations that own 90% of everything that you hear, watch, see, and read. Now I think it's even 3. It keeps getting consolidated, okay? And they literally say, what do we want? I mean, look, I downloaded, so I didn't really use ChatGPT on my phone, but for some reason yesterday I decided to give it a try. I actually kind of liked it because you could talk to it with a voice and get your prompts and all that, really, which is, again, that's another topic. But the fact that the male, straight, white man's voice was the last voice, the 6th voice in ChatGPT to choose from. You get a lesbian, you get a gay, you get an African, you get everything first, and then the white man is all the way at the end.
Wow, I didn't.
And
know
I'm
that.
not. Look, I'm Latin, if anything, right? I'm Chilean and Slavic. I'm not really white, you know. Nor are you, but it's just still feels like, why? What is the point? Is it to showcase that
diversity?
That this whole sort of is it leading up to the election? Is it to continue segregating and sort of, you know, supposedly punishing the white colonialist for torturing the women and the slaves and all that when it was actually the Africans themselves that had the slave markets first and enslaved other Africans and then sold them to America, etc. Like, you know, with black reparations and all that stuff, it's like, oh God, don't get me started. But the point that I'm trying to make is people don't know history. People don't have the information. And now that the people have the information in front of them, at the palm of their hand, they're still too lazy, for the most part, to go deeper and deeper and find answers to their questions. And then actually pick apart the megatrends that are being said by some white males, some of Austrian background, sitting in closed rooms and talking to the CEOs of the main media, food, entertainment, etc. companies and saying all these things. I mean, look at James O'Keefe. Like, you're a journalist, right? I'm a journalist. Have you heard of James O'Keefe?
Yeah, of course.
Project Veritas. Now it's O'Keefe Media. That's a very weird thing what happened there. But the work that he's doing right now with Disney, with Google, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It is wonderful work. That is what journalism is all about.
I know, but
it's about exposing how these actual megatrends get injected into the systems of control and then enabled onto the masses.
I think
Forcefully enabled.
I think one of the reasons, though, why one of
And by the way,
trend-
just to wrap this up, because some people might think I'm crazy, but I am here in this industry because I want to change that. I want to give the people the
called red
power
pill.
to create the narrative.
You've heard of red pill narrative? Red pill versus
Right.
blue pill?
Right. I mean, most of us, I think, from all of us here in Dubai, for sure, the crypto crowd, from Da Vinci to yourself to, Carl. I mean, anyone you meet who lives in Dubai and is in Web3, for the most part, especially those those that came here, that have come here from other places in the world, which is really most of us, are definitely of that narrative. That we are the red pill narrative.
But I think women don't align with that because they feel oppressed because they say men are the ones who control everything. Men are presidents. You see more men presidents than women presidents. Men are on the pageant, beauty pageant judges.
There's this.
Men dominate every industry.
there was this.
So they're like, I'm impressed.
There was this gay guy on a recent interview talking about Trump, a Kamala voter.
Right.
And he was asked something along the lines of, so what about Trump's demeanor? And well, Trump is constantly being asked by all these pretty women these questions, and the interviewer is like, is that a bad thing? Is that like, shouldn't a man want to be respected and adored by the pretty women and asked, certain personal questions or whatnot? Like, just in general, shouldn't a man strive to be respected and adored by the opposite sex?
Why not?
Right. I mean, well, and then you put the context of the interview and you can understand why. But so the point is that all of that is literally taking the human brain and inverting it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's being done on a on a ridiculous level. But what's interesting, and what I also noticed in LA as I come to a town that literally promotes and lives off of this leftist, demented agenda, a lot of people have woken up and have realized that something is wrong. We're not going the right way. Our kids are, asking us to cut off their penises and breasts, and take medication that prevents them from being who God or the universe, whether you're an atheist, whatever, made them to be. Okay, and then finding every single issue from some, hermaphrodites in the animal kingdom to show that we humans can also be that way, or are also a part of that and whatnot. Like
Caitlyn Jenner.
All of this is just beyond me. I don't understand, why do we need to promote or go that way? Why? Well, I do understand, I guess, after many years.
What do you think Caitlyn Jenner cut his penis off?
Because Caitlyn Jenner is nobody.
And he was a runner before. He was an athlete.
Yeah, exactly, before. But again, being an athlete, no offense to anybody who does sports, that's just big, entertainment. That's all you are. Yeah. That's why you're getting the big bucks, because you're literally continuing to brainwash and entertain the masses and keep them docile. And when you invert or you turn, I mean, look at these Kamala voters. They are the most docile, gullible people you can possibly find. You can change their mind like this. And by the way, facts don't work on them either. So you have to come from that same perverted, demented agenda to be able to reason and speak with them. And to me personally, that's a red flag. Like I see that what makes sense to me in that case is then that the system is purposely creating and literally transforming humanity into these docile, robotic beings that are going to just do whatever this one central entity that is, right now being created, right, is going to tell them.
I think there's this narrative, like, it's cool to cut your penis off. It's cool to be a girl. It's cool to change genders, as you wish and please. Like, one day I want to be a boy, another day I want to be a girl. It's my choice, my body.
Yeah, my body, my choice.
Right.
Yeah, well, not when it comes to foreign technology potentially being injected into your bloodstream. Then of course, it's not your body and not your choice. It's the common good. You know, so all these agendas at the end of the day are being controlled by the narrative. And that's why me coming from the world of media, you see, that's why going back to where we started, that's why I started doing this. Because first of all, I know how to form narratives, and second of, I want to affect a better narrative.
Right.
And that's why in 2017, when I was having my show and Max Kaiser still had his show. By the way, Max had his show way longer than I did. I think he literally had to, take his show off the air of that channel when the war of the two Slavic nations began in 2022.
Yeah.
I literally, I stopped producing content for that channel in 2018. Albeit I'm very thankful to everything that I learned there, which was amazing, because I did try taking my stuff to Vice, and let's just say they weren't that interested in the narratives that I was gonna
just a quick interjection. The whole reason for asking all these questions is because I wanted to delve into the mind of a journalist, because you've seen many things, you've been around long, so understanding your red pill concept was actually part of what we're talking about, of your why for why you started this, boutique agency, because you get
appreciate
to
that,
form.
Adel.
That's really good to get into the mind of
and I appreciate you giving me the time to actually feel my long story. I think it's been like 30 minutes of this intro phase, but hopefully people find this.
No, this is real question. And the fact that you mentioned sex is what drives the world in a way, sexual attraction.
Sexual energy.
I feel
absolutely.
Sexual energy, because when you're gonna look at something, what really gets the hook and what gets people to look and check and go back, tap the back button, is really the sexual appeal.
Yeah.
You see a woman playing guitar, and she's showing her cleavage. I've seen that before, not because I wanted to, but the cleavage was the first thing that my eye looked at.
Naturally.
I didn't want to.
Naturally,
But
yes.
you think that's by accident? That's not by accident.
No, it's by nature.
That's by nature. It's by nature that I clicked on it and I was like, oh, why am I looking at this now? Now I'm getting into a wormhole. I don't want to be distracted.
And you want to know why we can know for a fact that it's being perverted? And again, no offense, I have many gay friends. I'm totally fine with people being gay. I can't say friends, acquaintances, but if you take the rainbow that was taken from the kids and given to that whole, community, and you inverted, so basically the rainbow follows the chakra system.
So like this, and you go.
No, the color scheme.
Oh, okay.
It follows the chakra system. Your astral chakra, your head chakra, your throat chakra, your chest chakra, your heart, going all the way to the root chakra, to this chakra, which is why Kundalini Yoga, charges this chakra, the sexual chakra, the sexual energy, gives you the life energy. Now, that the color of this chakra, I believe, is like purple, something like that, or purple is here. So they inverted it.
Really?
So basically, if you take that rainbow, the top is literally what's supposed to be the bottom. So sexual energy, for some reason, began the main driving force of that society, of that community, and just generally of the value system that this whole, I don't even know what to call it anymore, movement is presenting for the world. Now, again, I have no issue with anyone being what they want to be, but do not try to influence, I already have 2 kids now, do not try to influence my daughter and my son in whatever it is you decide to do. The second you do that, the second major companies like Disney start promoting that in their cartoons, etc., we have a problem. And you may call me a homophobe, you may call me whatever you want to call me, but I have the right to defend the psyche of my children and speak up against that.
Yeah.
And that is why, again, alhamdulillah, I'm so thankful to this country for embracing me and my kids. My daughter did some, so for first 2 years, we kept her in her school virtually because of, just the school program, and we wanted that Russian language edge, etc. But this year she started school here in the UAE, and I'm so thankful. I look at the schools here in UAE, and I'm like, wow, like that's what a school should be. It should be a place that enables children to be their best self, not to influence them to be someone else, especially when, for the most part, at that age, they know fuck all.
Yeah. They're still developing their mind,
Exactly.
of course.
Exactly.
Right.
So if I've upset anybody with anything I've said, I'm sorry, but that's my reasoning.
Shove it up your ass. I'm joking. No, this leads right to my next question now with agencies. So you've got your own boutique agency. You can frame the narrative as you wish and please in the way that you want it for positive change.
Well, we discovered the basic 3 factors of engagement, which are simple, but yet not a whole lot of people were executing them back when we started, which is simply the narrative. So you have the Google SEO, which is PR, articles, public relations, keywords that get you to the front, new news releases, press releases, feature articles, organic native content gets you to the top, right? That's a validation point for anybody who's gonna buy your digital asset, right? Then you have the part of trust and inspiration. That's the visual branding part. That's the film. That's the reels. That's the cinematic content, what we call cinematic branding, connecting content that inspires trust and engages the user with confidence and a knowledge base by the actual project leaders, speaking to the people, explaining why are they here, where do they come from, where do they want to go, right? And then the digital angle, which is now, it's amazing how fast, by the way, this last angle is changing, because we got involved in the whole digital side, I would say social media marketing side, in 2022. We didn't really do it before that. But now it's the tapping, it's the attention, it's the incentivization and the anticipation that is now being pioneered by Web3 marketing to engage people in call to actions, to engage people in activities, and to essentially make them an extension of the marketing team, right? And so when you take these 3 pillars, we call it the 3 pillars, the future is Now DAO, PR, visual branding, and digital, we combine the 3, you have a go-to-market. You have a way to create proper positioning and proper execution of leading that information from point A to point B, validating it in the media, and creating an image for the community. And by the way, these are like valid tactics. There's no psyops involved. There's no rigged Facebook, control. Remember that? What was that documentary? It was also interesting. We had The Great Hack with our great
social
friend,
the social
Kaiser.
dilemma.
Right, the social dilemma, exactly.
Yeah. Spoke
where
about that.
Facebook had that dial that you could turn and make it Trump.
I know.
Or turn and make it Biden. And like we don't have that. We don't need that.
But then what do you say to marketing agencies that charge $8K a month for like a couple of articles or maybe 10 articles?
Yeah, that's horrible. So we have a problem in our space, and that is greed. So we need to get away from the me economy to the we economy. I've met so many great people that turned greedy, that turned their back on me, on others, on just, on the general industry, because they have come to this place hungry, from rags to riches, and loyalty, while at the same time, I wouldn't even call it loyalty, I would just say, well, probably loyalty. Yeah, loyalty is really the factor that unfortunately is of the most extreme value in our industry. Because finding loyal partners,
loyal people,
loyal clients, loyal employees in our industry is very tough.
Yes.
Because you do get backstabbed. People
for money.
Right. People are out to just they don't really want to build something, or if they want to build something with you, they're going to put in the least effort. And that's why I think our industry, and you're a testament to that, and I'm sure you can relate, this is a do-it-yourself kind of an industry. Like you got to be able to do, if there's a force majeure and worse comes to worse, you got to be able to run the whole thing yourself.
100%.
For a couple months, And I know that we've spoken about this, and you also do your own social media. I do have people that have done my socials.
Videos.
Right. I do also, like I cannot. Well, if you talk about videos and any kind of image content, for me that's personal, because I am a screenwriter, so I have to edit the fish, I have to put the music, I have to choose the ambiance, and then I work with a tech editor that just knows how to do better transitions and has the patience to do what I used to do in school but don't do anymore. But yes, that involvement, that personal touch is very important. And just overall, if you go to the business angle, to building something together, it's very tough. And some people have found, and I know of a few fellow marketing agencies, my friends, who have found each other. Two partners have found each other and built a multi-million-dollar business out of a business that was doing close to $1 million. And that's a blessing when you find that.
Do you think, just didn't mean to interrupt, but do you think articles are still relevant in today's short form content, visualizing world that we're all in?
Depending what kind of articles, like Brock Pierce used to say, this industry, as anything new, as any new technology, always attracts the roaches, and as all the roaches crawl from underneath the log to this honeypot that is now this new shiny thing, which is Bitcoin, and the industry that it formed around it. And of course, you're going to get a lot of slack. You're going to get a lot of things that you're going to get articles that look like ChatGPT written, senseless pieces. You're going to get content that doesn't mix well with other formats that needs to support that article, right? So it's all about the strategy and it's all about the formula, right? And that's why, yes, you do have these agencies that do exactly what I just explained, basically half-assed work, and they charge you,
extortionate amounts.
Right, amounts that don't make sense.
For a couple of articles.
Yeah, our contracts are usually 3 to 6 months tops, because we come in, we build out, we showcase, we teach the marketing team, we show the startup or the established product, or a product that sometimes may be in a difficult situation. We show that product how to function with the Web3 marketing and how to upgrade or scale their ways, and then we leave. That's actually also the unfortunate part of being a Web3 marketing agency, if you will. I hate the word agency, but yeah, being a Web3 marketing company.
I call myself a boutique creative agency.
Okay, yeah. Well, we are FinDAO officially. FinDAO is a boutique media, PR, and go-to-market powerhouse for Web3. That's our slogan. But that's the problem. You get, there are certain things that happen at that stage with startups or established brands. Number one, you get a CMO in the company that you're working with, that you're trying to show some great stuff, and the person takes it in a defensive way and feels that, oh, if this succeeds, I might lose my job, or something like that, right? And so you all of a sudden get almost like unintentional but intentional, sticks and stones thrown at you during a process where you're literally trying to make sales. Because at the end of the day, we are all about selling together with our clients and partners. That's all you're doing. You're selling together. Right. And if you can't sell together, then you're not doing your job. And if somebody on the actual team that you're trying to sell for is making your life difficult, that's a problem. But that's just Web3 marketing. Another problem, established brands, or again, like there is no marketing, period. You come in, you build it out, you showcase, you start doing stuff, it's starting to get engagement, retention, and then you get stopped. Like either there's a missing budget or they just don't agree with you. They just think it's too early. But you're like, no, it's now or never. Because we know that there's going to be the Bitcoin is going to go from 36 to 65 in the next 4 months, and it's going to happen right now. So you should follow our analysis of the market, because we don't just do the marketing, the PR, the visuals, the branding. You also have to do the tokenomics. You have to do the
that is true.
White paper. So we have a great team that actually does that, because having a good product, knowing that it's ready and that it's functional, is going to enable a great go-to-market, right? And so that's just some basic stuff that you do get, thrown at you as a Web3 marketing entity in the industry. But we're getting there, because I think we're graduating, and a lot of people that come into these industries, even if they started like 3, 4, 5, some even 7, or even, I'd say beyond 7 years, those are like the real OGs. Albeit I started in 2017, I'm also considered an OG for some reason. Well, thank you for that. That's what I've been told. But you learn with this industry.
Yeah, you
and
do.
So a lot of people start new. They come in, they've been here maybe 2, 3 years, 4, and they don't get it. And so they learn the process. They learn on their own mistakes, because sometimes when you stop a marketing team from doing sales for you, you get bad sales. And then of course you get blamed. You blame the marketing team for not selling enough, you know?
Right.
That's a very common
That's the annoying thing with marketing. We're here to produce content, but it may not lead to conversions. We're here, like the article is not guaranteed to lead to conversion.
That's
right?
why I was speaking about the formula. You have to have
Right.
you have to have something with it. You can't just have the article.
Because end of the day, for a sale to be done, it's up to the customer.
Yeah.
If the customer wants to buy, he or she will buy. But the marketing, it should be seen, in my personal perspective, marketing is an expense, but also an ROI because you get to keep that content for life.
Absolutely.
We produce
Absolutely.
this. Don't dismiss our work because it didn't lead to sales. You know,
Right.
if the product isn't good, maybe it's a product issue. But as far as content goes, the cinematic, the hosting, we did our work.
I would say a go-to-market is when you have to sell. If you're just doing marketing and you're creating basic fundamental, explainers, this, that, some articles, that's positioning.
That's positioning.
That's brand positioning.
Right.
And that doesn't have to lead to sales.
No.
But we like to take both together and actually sell because, obviously it leads to a good word of mouth radio. True. Because that's the best form of marketing is when other people recommend you and when other people recommend your product.
Yes.
And vice versa. Yes. And that's why, I wish we could dive deeper. I don't know if we're out of time or not, but I could really dive deeper.
We're going to wrap up soon, but
I could really dive deeper into what it is to build a community.
But quick question on this: is there a function for a CMO when you've got agencies to hire? Like, does a CMO even have a position anymore? Because what does the CMO do that a third-party boutique can't do?
Well, I'll tell you something. So my personal situation right now is I'm a bit tired of serving companies and then being kind of like, okay, you got a bit of your tokens, I want to start something and be a part of the team.
Oh yeah.
And actually grow a baby together.
Right.
So, and again, not a service business, but an actual product within the market. So I've been actually looking at a few CMO positions to let my agency do what it does, but take that interim role. I actually had a recent one, which I didn't expect it to be long term, but it was long enough. It was 7 months, and I was an interim CMO of a company that actually put the SEC in contempt for the first time in 98 years.
Say that company's name.
Deadbox, decentralized, eco-friendly blockchain technology.
It's a big win for the Web3 industry.
Big win, big win. Brian Armstrong, reached out, and vice versa. There's been Cointelegraph reached out to me. It's been a very fun ride, kind of experiencing that because my job really was to rebrand and hone the community for the next iteration of the company, because the company was going to also rebrand and launched a few new verticals, and we did that. We essentially launched. We rebranded 3 different directions and companies within the major organization and launched one of its products that is live now. And it was pretty cool.
So why aren't you CMO anymore?
Because I decided for certain political reasons that it's best to kind of, be on the front lines of a startup rather than a company that you come in where it already has existed and it has predominant issues that needs fixing. And sometimes you feel that, if you really want to build it yourself, you got to start from the beginning. Coming in the middle when something is already there is a time when you may not always have the voice that you want to have,
of course,
as a CMO in a startup. So I'm specifically, like I mentioned, I'm looking for actually a startup to engage with while still servicing clients. We're servicing an amazing AI engine that's building Web3 assets and game assets for games, both 2D and 3D. We're working actually with a Web3 game as well that's being built out right now, and we're working with a TCPA company that's creating a new way for crypto to communicate with its clients. Because if you want to bring new clients in, Web3 ways and what we just explained, the tapping games, the articles, the social media, the context advertisement, all that is great. But if you want to tap into the new audience that may be on the sidelines and not even understanding what crypto is about, you got to get into the phones.
Phones?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like social media?
You got to call people.
Oh,
Yeah.
Call center.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of interesting verticals that you can combine. Because, tapping, all that, that's degen. That's Gen Z. That's the people that have the time.
I don't
to
know
do
if these
that.
people have the time span to take a call even.
No. Believe
Yeah?
it or not, people do.
They'd be
People
like,
do.
what's
All
this
over the
about?
world.
What do you want to tell me? Just make it quick.
No, look, phone lists are very interesting. They are real. They are real.
It's a traditional approach.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's a conversation.
Wow.
And it's an invitation to a conversation. It doesn't have to be a phone.
Yeah.
It could lead to a Zoom. But essentially, a funnel is a funnel. And I'm just giving another example of another funnel that can tap into a different age group, for the industry. Because at the end of the day, this whole thing is about building funnels, right?
Understood.
You're building different funnels across different variables of a marketing highway. And so I think that's really what the marketing world is about. But the fact that we got to tap into these sort of antics of how narratives and mega trends are created and made, hopefully this was a good part of the conversation.
was.
Because I think it'll get people to hopefully notice and recognize some of these things.
I wanted to get
when
into
they're
the
coming
mind.
at them.
I wanted to get into the mind of a journalist person like yourself, the mind of Miguel. Because what does he think before he produces these such remarkable 40-minute documentaries, which should be on Netflix right now? I would
They
watch.
will.
They should be on Netflix.
We're speaking to a distributor right now.
I'm like, this is
been a long
so
time coming.
good. I feel like I'm in a movie, but I want to get into the mind of Miguel. Now I got a piece of it. It's only a piece in this 40-minute conversation.
Well,
But there's so much more to you, I know, and anyone. But Red Pill really is something I think most of us are starting to embrace and starting to, challenge the current, whatever you call it, narrative that we see in the news, with like what we discussed in terms of gender changes, identity crises. Wow,
yeah, I mean, we're all dealing
sexual
with
appeal.
it. We're all dealing with it, and again, this industry is about creating an upgrade for humanity.
Yeah.
It's about decentralizing control,
Right.
giving the people back their true voting power.
They could argue that
That's going to be on the blockchain.
they could argue. They could argue the
Why
same.
can't they hold the election on the blockchain to make sure that it doesn't?
That
get
is a very
cheated
good point.
this year.
That is
Why
a
not? Just do it.
That is a very good point.
Technology is there. The network is available.
You can't fake numbers on a blockchain.
Yeah,
If it's on the blockchain.
Take a good blockchain that's solid, that's been tested, and just do a,
But at the same time, here's the plot twist. People are saying, hey, decentralization is all about choice and my own right to choose. So if I want to choose this identity versus that identity, they could use that argument against you.
Absolutely, and so be it. You can choose and do whatever you want. Like I said, just don't bring it to my kids.
Just don't bring it to my kids.
Don't bring it to my kids'
All right.
forefront.
We'll leave it there.
That's simple.
We'll leave it there. Miguel, thank you so much for your time. That was very good. I loved it.
I hope so.
We got into conversation that was deep, and I think there's a lot of takeaways for the audience. I appreciate that.
Inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this insightful. I will leave all the links in the description to Miguel's profile as well as his company, The Future Is Now DAO. Do check it out. Check out their YouTube channel. I loved it. I loved their last video on meme. What was the name of it called?
Memonize me.
Memonize.
The future is now that community. That's
Check
the
that out.
website, and
And
everybody's
if you're
welcome.
interested to work with Miguel, I will leave all the links in the description, so reach out to him as you wish and please. But for now, thank you again for watching and stay tuned. This is episode 50, by the way, so thank you for that.
Wow.
Episode 50.
50th, 50.
50th. Woo! Right?
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Very soon. But yeah, thank you again, and we will see you next time. Cheers.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Thank you, guys.